Hey, this is Anthony Threvs. TV we can watch, decide, and ride. Welcome to our Moto Skivvies technical underwear overview at Revzilla.com. So in this video, I'm going to break down the Moto Skivvies line. Yes, they're technical underwear. You can see a pair to my left on the mannequin, and then I have some of the nuances here across the table with a pair in my hand. These are technical underwear. I was at the AIM Expo last year, and I got stopped by a Hey Anthony. It was a founder, Sean of Moto Skivvies. He said, we're out of Park City, we come from the cycling world, and we're developing new technology that's gonna allow riders to ride stronger, longer by eliminating pressure points, increasing blood flow, increasing ventilation, and giving riders the ability to sidestep, especially longer distance riders that ride every day, ischial bursitis, which really is a physical condition that can develop by spending too much time misoptimized in the saddle. What you're looking at is a pair of premium underwear. You can see I have it in front of me. It's like we'd expect to see. And again, coming from the cycling world, it's made of super stretchy Lycra. But I will say this, it's extremely lightweight. And if you look at the mannequin to my left, you'll notice, and we'll walk through it a little bit in more detail in a second, but there's a perforated areas, there's gonna be solid areas. And the key to it is that each pair of these underwear is going to have the specialized technical pad, and there's really three flavors in the specialized area. So blue is going to be called the Moto Skivvies Adventure, and that's really going to be for universal riding, adventure touring, again, a more upright position. Then you're going to have the red, which I have to my right, and that's going to be sport-oriented and a really sport body position. It's going to be the tuck or the three-quarter. And then underneath that, you're going to have the gray, which is going to be your cruiser option, and that's going to be with your legs forward. And again, we're going to walk through the nuance and the benefit of all of those, but what you need to keep in mind is that for around the $60 mark, you're upgrading your ride, and you're really buying it based on your riding position on the bike, and there's a ton of benefit that comes with it. So let's talk briefly about sizing, and let's walk into the nuance of the Moto Skivvy. So we get into the sizing on the Moto Skivvy. Remember, it's going to be alphanumeric side. You can see it here. This is an extra large I have on my model to the left, and your size is small through 2X. Now, right now, they're coming in unisex sizes. I'll be honest, I believe they're designing for the more male market. On the ladies' side, though, the hope is that we see a Moto Skivvy for ladies certainly some point down the pipe. But keep that in mind. Use the size chart. And when in doubt, we all have pairs of underwear out there from any brand that might be a boxer brief. Just kind of go in line with that same size. There's a ton of stretch to these. And again, they're built for high quality material. Stretch in the legs, stretch at the band. And again, no surprises there. Keep in mind too, they're over 39 bucks, so we're gonna ship for free. Now, as I walk through my odd torso here to the left and some of the other technicality in the pads to my right, what I'd love for you to do is click right there, subscribe to us, click our logo on Revzilla TV, leave me your comments, your questions, your feedback about the Moto Skivvy itself, the interesting assortment on the table I have in front of me here today, but really stay up to date with all the latest gear reviews we're constantly rolling out. We're trying to get a good gauge on the best of the leading edge for technology for you hardcore riders out there. Now, if I dive back in, let's start with the anatomy of the short, and then we're going to go to the model, and then we'll talk about the pads. So the exterior is pretty simple. Like I said, it's a really lightweight Lycra. It's not like a cycling short in the sense because it doesn't have to take an impact. So it's super, super thin, super, super comfortable. And you can see here, it's a high quality waistband at the top. There's no silicone at the bottom of the legs, so it's not keeping itself in place like it would if it came from the MX world. But if I move into my mannequin here, which is turned backwards, by the way, here on my left, you're going to see how it all comes together. Let's start with the backside. You see the band at the top. Now notice it's perforated along the crack. Lack of a better term, you're going to see it along the top. You see that perforation in areas that are traditionally more heated. So again, you don't need any help there. And the more solid areas are areas where you could stand to not have that perforation. And again, and they're also, perforation tends to weaken a short a little bit, or weaken any material. So you're getting primarily solid material in the area where the pad is going to come into play. Now, the pad connects in a different place on each pant. It's always along the butt, and it's always underneath. Now, if you're wearing the sport version, it's going to be more on the thighs. It's going to be more rotated, because think about it, three-quarter tuck position. This is going to be the more universally fit adventure version, but I wish I would have just called it the standard version, because again, if you're touring, if you're adventure touring, if you're commuting, if you're more in that three-quarter upright riding position, this gives you great coverage on the backside as well as underneath along the thighs. And you're going to see different densities of foam. It's flat lock stitched. You're never going to feel that stitch. It's a 4-needle stitch, and you can see how it wraps around. They're also going to be designed to be in place when you're in the riding position, depending on the type you choose. And when you're just standing around, they are going to hang a little funny in your pant. But again, to be designed to be walked around in, that's not where they're going. They're designed and optimized for riding. riding. Now, if I flip my mannequin to the front, wow, look at that slick little feature, and roll him around, what you're actually going to see is that perforation continues and it moves into the crotch. Again, areas that are heated that you're going to need more breathability. I'll also say this, notice it's not a fly, and it's not a fly on purpose, because along the groin, there's actually going to be a second layer of Lycra. So what you have is 2 layers of material on each other against your body and against your parts. So what happens is you're not going to get any action against your tank. So giving the ability to slide and move around without giving you any brush burn that you really don't want to have. And you see how it comes down here along the front and the way it locks into place. Our nitpick, maybe we like to see a pair that's extended at some point, gives you full compression down towards the knee, but really the technology they're going for here is all about this pad. And now that we've covered the exterior, how it kind of goes together, what you typically see when you're looking at these, we should walk through the segmentation and how you're going to choose and the benefit you're going to get from the sport version, the cruiser version, and then that adventure version, which is so universal. So I'm going to start with the Moto Skivvy that I have off the model. And notice this is how you would wear it. This guy to my left is fully inside out. I hope you picked up on that. And if I turn this one inside out, what you're going to see is the blue pad to my right is now sewn in. And we could talk about the bottom. We could talk about how this works. Now, you're starting with a silver-infused antimicrobial pad. And you're looking at a pad that's ventilated, that also has different densities of foam. And remember, it's an open cell foam. It's harder to use that. Open cell foam is more breathable versus a closed cell foam. So they could have cut costs here by going with a closed cell foam, but they chose to go higher end for breathability. See these cords and the structure. It's going to be fully wicking. So it's antimicrobial, it's wicking, it's pulling that sweat away from you. And then there are different densities of foam here. There are different densities of foam towards the front. And this is the universal version. This is the one that if you have one to choose, you're not a sport bike and you're not on a Harley, this is the one you're going to buy, and it's going to cover you the best and give you the most versatility. But what you're going to see is 3mm foam, 4mm foam. On the cruiser version, you're going to see 6mm foam. It's all about spreading the load and giving you the best contact patch on the bike depending on where your legs are. Remember, if you're wearing this one, typically your legs are going to be straight down or slightly forward. They're not going to be underneath you like you'd see with a sport riding position, and they're not going to be overly forward like you'd have in that cruiser position. And you have the ability to have that support that runs up towards the tailbone, again, giving you the support, because remember, we've all had that. I've been on rides where you're riding gas tank to gas tank, you got to cover 400 or 500 miles in a day, and your legs are just burning. This gives you that area of support. It gives you that vibration dampening. It's going to spread out the load, promote blood flow. You know, I've seen Airhawk seats do something a little bit similar, but that goes to the bike. These are the wearable. These are the technical wearable that fully forms your body. And what you're going to see here too to the left is when you come in here on the back side of this mannequin on the inside out pair, you're also going to notice that it wraps underneath. It wraps towards the front. It's giving you more fuller coverage, you know, for the riding position, not just for the upright position and not just on your butt pad. Because remember, you're spreading that load out. The other thing we talked about is ischial bursitis, which is really your butt bones. And again, especially in the cruiser world, you see guys that ride a ton, they can start to develop physical medical conditions from that. And what this is going to do, it's going to give you that comfort and support that's going to allow you to ride longer and give you the chance to stay out of the doctor's office. So as I move from my blue version, which remember, if you can only buy one, this is the one to buy. This is the blue version, universal standard. They're calling it adventure, and I wish it would have just done ADV/standard. It would be much more simple. And remember, it doesn't matter if you ride an FJR and if you ride really quickly. You're riding in that body position. You're buying this based on your body position. So I don't care how sporty of a rider you are. If you're not in a 3/4 to the tuck, you're not buying the sport version. It's a good segue. Let's move over to our sport version now. Now this is a sport version. Notice it's more Y-shaped. It's meant for your body to be in the tuck. It wraps more forward. The pressure is going to be more off your butt. It's going to be on more of your thighs and the front of your thighs. It's going to wrap around a little further. Notice the way they've done this. So again, different layout of the foam, same materials, silver infused. It's going to wick. It's going to breathe. It's going to be antimicrobial. Notice the perforation scheme. But the nice part here too is they gave you some additional padding in along the inner thighs that are going to grip against your tank. So again, a little bit of shock absorption there, a little bit of increased blood flow, eliminating that pressure point. And I have this one not sewn to anything. So if I turn it over, you can see the bottom. It's truly 3D. This is the side that you'd never see when you'd buy this. And again, great care is meant to be heat mapped and really designed so that the placement of this in the riding position, I'll say if I had this one on the model next to me, you'd see that it sits lower and it sits more towards the front. That's done so that when you're riding, it's in the right position. And again, this is going to be your sport one. Buy it if you ride a sport bike in a sport position. Do not buy it if you ride a sport touring bike and you're in a touring position, but you just ride like a maniac. You're going to want to ride the one for your body position. This is a cruiser one, and this one's a little bit different. You'll notice they made a couple key changes. Now the lines on it from a wicking perspective, are actually zigzag versus straight. So it's meant for a bit more of a cooling versus wicking because you're sweating a little bit less on a cruiser. You're also going to notice that if you think about really forward controls or even mid controls, your feet are really forward. Your knees are really elevated. You're really far back on your butt. So what they've done here is they really beefed up. This is the first time we see that 6mm foam padding come into place. Remember, open cell foam, because the area that's going to be the surface area that's making connection with your bike, whether you're on a stock seat or an upgraded seat, it's going to be much smaller. So you see 3 layers of foam, you have 6mm where you need it most. This is going to be a condensed pressure point area with less movement on the bike. You're going to be more sedentary, and again, this is going to be set up so it's going to be a little bit higher on the back because when you're rotated forward, your legs are going to be forward and you need that to come into play. So again, this is the other one. I would say this. If you have a passenger that's riding with you and you're thinking about, I don't care if you're on a sport bike, an adventure touring bike, cruiser definitively, but if you have a passenger that's going to sit on your rear sets or your rear pegs and that's going to have those elevated knees, you're going to buy the cruiser version because they're actually experiencing a riding position that's going to be much closer to a cruiser rider who's actually riding the motorcycle or driving the motorcycle versus your sport rider versus your adventure touring or your standard or your commuter. So keep that in mind. And hopefully over time, we'll see them take this concept and they'll do a size curve as well as ergonomics that are built for more of a lady rider. But really, ladies, if it works for you, you can go with the lower sizes because they are built with a more universality to them. So remember, technical underwear starting at around the $60 mark, coupled with R&D that came out of Italy from a Verona testing facility that really started in the cycling world. And these are built by guys that were 20-year pro cyclists that now said, we're into moto, we're going to take this technology because everything in cycling on that little saddle is built to protect you from the terrifying nature of what that seat doesn't do for you. It is hard, it's uncomfortable, it creates prostate issues, has all these issues. On a motorcycle, you're more padded, you typically have a suspension, you're better off. But for longer distance riding or even everyday commuting, you could benefit from a lot of the different properties that are perfected in a much more difficult environment and now brought over and bridge the gap for the moto universe. Obviously, you can tell I like it. I like technology, I like leading edge. I certainly support entrepreneurs that are bringing new technologies to market. We're hoping that you find a spot in your moto technical lineup for moto skivvies. Shoot, maybe you'll even see an orange version at some point. The next step in your journey is to use my information and click right here to read other rider reviews of moto skivvies at revzilla.com. Remember, different reviews for different products. You're going to have 3 different products. This overview hopefully gets you close to the one that you need to select, but don't take my word for it. As always, we're going to ship for free over $39. And if you want to talk to a gear geek, call them, ask them about their underwear. I think that's a great conversation. See us at revzilla.com or 877-792-9455. Thanks for watching our Moto Skivvies overview. It's technical underwear. I'm a fan. Subscribe to us at Revzilla TV. We'll see you next time. Hey, this is Anthony with Revzilla. You watch, decide, and ride. Welcome to our detailed breakdown of the new Icon Field Armor compression pants and forearm sleeve available at revzilla.com. It is nice to see Icon continuing to iterate and innovate for 2018. This is the Icon Field Armor compression pant, easy to understand, but more importantly, forearm sleeve. We're here in Philadelphia. We know that they teamed up with Allen Iverson on this one. They just didn't tell us from 2001, but we dig it. If we look at it, this is part of a compression outfit, but it is a sleeve. And really, I'm starting with it because it's the piece that we haven't seen in moto before. You're going to buy these. It's around $75 for the pair, and ultimately you can now add armor to any jacket you're wearing very quickly, very easily. They're lightweight, stowable, packable. But again, if we look at this, this is DuPont Kevlar coated D30 armor. Now it doesn't carry the CE rating. It's a little bit lighter weight. You have it on the lateral side of your humerus, around your bicep, moving it into the elbow. You have a hard part, and then you have it all the way down the forearm. Again, D30 molecular armor, shock absorbent, shock resistant, again, adding that protection, and it's all encompassed within a stretch mesh sleeve. So that's going to be your forearm sleeve from Icon, sub $100. We're over the moon that this even exists, and we can't believe it took a decade for us to see this, and that really a decade was Revzilla's inception here in moto. Now, if we move into the into the pants here, and hi, Ms. Brian, I appreciate your strategic posing here. You're going to see that these are about double the price, over the $100 mark. They actually come in a range of sizes, and we're going to talk sizing briefly here in a second. But what you're getting is a multitude of panels of D3O coated in Kevlar, where you get the armor and the abrasion resistant that are baked in. You have hips, you have thighs, you have knees, you have backside of the calf, and when we turn Hi, Ms. Brian backwards, you're going to see butt as well as tailbone, which is nice. And again, it's still that stretch material. So depending on your flavor, sleeves are sold as a set. The pants come separate. We want to shoot them together because they're really that ability to step things forward. Let's briefly talk about fitment. Hi, Ms. Brian, 6 foot, 195, 42-inch chest. He's about a large in Icon. He wears about a 33-inch jeans. His sizing is going to be a large, extra large here in the sleeve. The sleeves come in two sizes, small, medium, one size, and large, extra large, and up for this size. Now, I will tell you, for this being the bigger size, we have not tried them on a massive person here in our office. But Hi, Ms. Brian, who's an athletic build, again, 6 foot, 195, getting them on said, yeah, they're relatively tight. So I'll be curious to see, as some of you really big, burly dudes start putting these on out there, and big burly ladies, again, these are unisex, how you're having, what kind of a time you're having on that fit scheme side of things. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw maybe a 2X, 3X in the sleeve come out potentially down the stream, or we're actually hoping for that. Would be one of our gripes of this. Now, sizing on the pant, a little bit more straightforward. I think it's small through 2X. Sizes go incrementally, basic pant size chart. They have stretch to them. Hi, Ms. Brian, again, he's wearing a size large, and he's about a 33 in the jeans waist in his Wranglers. You can see how these sizes line up. Now, use those size charts respectively. Call us if you have any questions, again, especially on the sleeves here where you might need a little bit of help. And ultimately, remember, click our logo, subscribe to us at RevZilla on our YouTube channel, leave me your comments, your questions, your feedback on the sleeves or on the compression pants. Now, Hi, Ms. Brian, turn and face that away. If we look at the side profile here, we're going to spend a little bit more time on the pant. Notice the way that this is baked in. Sleeve or hip all the way up to waist. You have additional wrapping along the thigh, and then even on the side of the glute, you have this in an asymmetrical shape on both sides. It's a nice touch. And really, this stretch mesh doesn't change on the way down. Now, one of the things that we did have, a couple gripes of this, the sizing was one. The other one, you can see it, we set these up, you understand how they work. A lot of times when you see compression, on the inside of the edges of the compression, maybe at the termination of the calf or down along the sleeve, or certainly on the bicep, you'll see silicone, and what that will do is it will create a little bit more friction with your skin and keep it in place. We don't have them on these. Again, I'm not sure if that was a thoughtful decision from Icon or if they just missed it, but I'll be curious when folks start putting hundreds and hundreds of miles on these, if they start to ride up on them, if they stay in place. If they stay in place, not a big deal. If they start to ride up, Icon version 2 of these needs the silicone. Again, that was just our quick critique of it as we worked our way into the weeds. Now, turn backwards from there, HVB, get a quick shot of the field armor tailbone protector, the asymmetry along the backside of the glutes, simple stuff. Again, you can easily hand wash this stuff. It's going to flow a ton of air, and it's going to wick if you start to get sweaty. It's a nice stretch compression base layer. Come back around to the front for me there, HVB. The last thing I want to talk about are these loops up along the thumbs here. Don't move your hands, Hi, Ms. Brian. Again, it's a family show. Up along the thumbs, what you're going to see is that loop. We typically see that to be easier for on and off if you're pulling it under the sleeve of a jacket and then taking it off your thumb. You don't need to keep it in place when you're riding. It's just a nicety to allow ease of entry and exit when you're wearing this, typically under either a moto jacket that you've taken the armor out of or a casual jacket that you want to beef up the protection. So all in, the price works. It's not a crazy investment. It's nice that it's molecular armor. It's nice that it's going to be full DuPont Kevlar coated, which gives you that slide factor. It's thin enough to work under your gear, but that does sacrifice the CE rating. And this gives you a lot of flexibility depending on how you ride, or what armor you're most comfortable with. Nice to see Icon go 0 to 1. Now, the next step in your journey is click the info button, your desktop, your mobile device. Visit the product detail page at RevZilla.com. Read other rider reviews. You shouldn't just take my word for it. As always, we'll ship for over $39. If you want to talk to a Gear Geek, see us at RevZilla.com or 877-792-9455. Thanks for watching our detailed breakdown. Remember, subscribe to us at RevZilla on our YouTube channel. Stay updated with our opinion, latest and greatest in the moto universe. I'm Anthony. We'll see you next time.
Spurgeon here with RevZilla, and in this video we're going to break down the new line of Alpine Star's off-road protection, all of which is available at RevZilla.com. So to kick things off, we're going to walk you through 4 different pieces of gear in this video. We're going to walk you through the A1 Plus chest protector, which Mission McHugh is wearing on my left-hand side, the A4 Max, and then we're going to get up into the Bionic Plus V2 and the Bionic Tech armored jackets. Now, before we go any further, Mr. McHugh, do me a favor, just hold your left hand up for me. Mr. McHugh has gotten married, so for all you ladies and gentlemen in the audience that leave salacious messages trying to pick this young man up, you've got to stop because he now has a wife at home. So congratulations to Mr. McHugh for getting hitched. Now, he has not changed his sizes. He still stands at a commanding 6 foot tall, weighs in around 220 pounds, and has a 44-inch chest. So as we walk you through how he fits in each of these, just keep that in mind. Now, we are going to kick things off by talking about the A1 Plus, which is the chest protector that Mr. McHugh is wearing on my left-hand side. This is going to come in around a $130 price point. Keep in mind that Revzilla does have the price match guarantee, so for the prices for all of these, you are guaranteed to get the lowest price. But really what you're going to see here is a CE1 back protector and a foam and TPU chest protector for around that $130 price point. Mr. McHugh, just face backwards for me, just so we can get a look at that first. Now, this is going to be compatible with the BNS neck brace, and this is going to be a CE1 back protector. Now, this is going to be the smallest of all the back protector options that we're looking for. So if you're going for minimalism, this is going to be the one to consider because it is going to be the smallest out of the bunch. McHugh, face forward for me. Now there's 4 different mounting points for this, so you're going to have Velcro straps at the top, and you can fine tune exactly how that sits, and then you're going to have straps at the bottom as well. Easy to snap on and snap off, and then those are elastic the same way, so once you have this tightened down, you still have a bit of give. Now, Mr. McHugh, for his sizes, he found himself between the 2 sizes, and there's only 2 sizes available, a medium large and an extra large 2XL. He actually sized up to the extra large 2XL and then just cinched that down, and it fits him spot on. Still has a nice range of motion and room to move. Now you'll also notice here those additional strap down points for the BNS neck brace, but very simplistic in its design. So for something a little bit more protective, a little more beefy, let's move on to the A4 Max. So Mr. McHugh is now wearing the A4 Max, and that's going to bump you up to around the $170 price point. Now the main talking points here, you're upgrading to a full CE Level 1 chest protector, as well as a CE Level 1 back protector. But now, Mr. McHugh face backwards so we can see the coverage. You simply just get a little bit more coverage, and then this is going to, be a little bit more ventilated, and you're going to see that in the webbing that you're going to have on the back of this. So it just helps to promote a little bit of airflow. Still going to be compatible with the BNS neck brace. Now, what you will also notice here, McHugh, face forward and just raise that hand up for me. You are going to get lateral protection here in foam back protection around the kidneys. Now, this is not going to be hard protection like we've seen with somebody like Leatt that has those big, bulky, hard parts underneath. This is going to be a double layer foam, and it actually serves as an additional mounting point. So the same way we just talked about with the A1, you're going to have the strap, but now you also have this Velcro that sits underneath that you're going to use for the actual kidney protectors as well. And then you simply Velcro that back in place, snap it down, and you're set to go. McHugh face forward, and the same adjustments are going to be in the A4 Max as you saw with the A1 Plus. You're simply getting a bit of extra protection around the kidneys. You're now getting a CE rated chest protector, and the whole design is a little bit more sophisticated with those 6 mounting points that you can kind of use to make sure you feel nice and secure. Sizing hasn't changed for Mr. McHugh. He's still in the XL to 2XL size. However, there is a third sizing option. You can now go with an extra small for this too. So for smaller riders, that A1 Plus is probably going to be too big for you. You can bump up into the A4 Max, and you now have that extra small option, which will be ideal for riders that are going to be a little bit smaller. So that's going to wrap up the A1 Plus A4 Max chest protection. Now let's move on to the Bionic series of armored jackets. So we're now going to move into the Bionic jackets, and Mr. McHugh is now going to be wearing the Bionic Pro V2. Now, a quick note here, these are really designed for off-road, enduro, adventure riding, meant to be worn underneath a jersey or an outer shell. These are not meant to be really worn as standalone jackets on road use. So the A1, the A4 were chest protectors and back protectors really aimed for the motocross crowd, where this is going to be something that's more aimed at enduro, off-road, dual sport riding. Now, I say all that because I have actually used the Alpinestars Bionic Action Jacket. I own 2 because I bought one, wore it out, and I bought a second one. Now, I opted for that one over the Bionic Tech because the Bionic Tech I just never felt was comfortable. It didn't fit me right. So I'm actually really excited to see the new versions of the Bionic Pro V2 because these are going to be coming in at a lower price point than the outgoing Bionic Tech, And I find these to be much more comfortable, much more in line with the Alpinestars Bionic Action Jacket. Now, there's a couple of things that I've seen here that I wasn't quite sure about, that I was a little bit uncomfortable with, and actually using this, it impressed me. So starting off with the price point, this is coming in around the $240 mark. You are now going to have CE rated protection at the chest, the back, the elbows, and the shoulders. You're also going to have an adjustable kidney belt, which is taken right off of their road racing backs, their back protectors, and we'll see that in a minute as we work around to the back. Now, just taking a look at the elbows and shoulders. This is much slimmer, much more sleek. It's a soft foam, so it's getting away from some of those hard plates that you saw with the Bionic Tech. And that was actually one of my biggest gripes with the Bionic Tech, was that those hard plates were just uncomfortable. They didn't sit in place right. The armor was always shifting out of the way on the elbows. So what I thought originally I wasn't gonna like about this was, with my base, $150 Bionic Action Jacket, I have these little Velcro straps that roll over the forearm and hold the armor in place. So I really was afraid that without those straps, armor was going to move around. Trying this on, getting to play with it, the armor stays in place probably better than any of the armor jackets that I've seen yet. Not just from Alpinestars, I've owned quite a few of these from other brands as well. This does a really good job of holding the elbow armor in place. The shoulder armor is pitched forward a little bit. When you're riding through the woods, it's to really kind of help and prevent the branches from smacking into your shoulders. My one gripe here, McHugh, face that way for me, is that in the event of a crash, you're losing a little bit of the coverage area on the back. So if you take a tumble and you land on a rock on the back here, that is going to be a little bit more exposed. So what I would love to see in the future is maybe a little bit more coverage area on the shoulders. But for really what I'm seeing on the elbows, because the elbows is one of my biggest fail points, really they get an A+ for this armor staying into place. Now, if I wear this for 2 years, if this material starts to stretch out, I'm not sure if it'll stay in place there, but my initial impressions are really great job with that. Now, McHugh, go ahead and face all the way back for me. CE rated back protector at the back. It is going to be accepting that BNS neck brace, and if you want that off, this, or if you want to utilize this whole assembly comes off the top. You would actually remove that, throw that out of the way, and then the neck brace would fit down on top of this. You'll also notice I was talking about that kidney belt, which is removable if you want to. I wouldn't recommend that, but it is height adjustable. And this is going to be something that they, again, brought right from their road racing standalone back protectors. You can move that kidney belt up and down to fine tune exactly where the back protector sits on your persons. Once you have this on and in, it feels like second skin against you. I really like how tight this is. McHugh, you can go ahead and face forward. You can see the kidney belt is down here. You also have these Velcro straps, which actually I was trying to do that from the wrong area. So these actually Velcro on the top as well as the bottom. So one of the gripes that I actually had with my Bionic Action is that because there was only Velcro on the top, it kept coming undone. So the fact that you have Velcro on the bottom and then it gets another secure layer on top really helps to hold everything into place. Like that design a lot. And then again, you have Velcro straps at the top to really kind of fine tune exactly where the chest protector and where the whole outfit sits on you. Now from a sizing perspective, up until this point, there's been limited sizes to 2 to 3 sizes. McHugh's been in the extra large 2XL option. You now have sizes that range from small up to a 2XL, and Mr. McHugh's actually going to be wearing a size large. So just keep that in mind and use that in correlation with the size chart. For example, in the Alpinestars Bionic Action Jacket, I would be a extra large. So would Mr. McHugh. We've both sized down to the large for this one. So it does fit a little bit more generous than the previous versions that we've seen from this. And again, you want it nice and snug. This should not be loose in any way. It should hug your body so that armor stays in place. So this is the Bionic Pro V2. Let's take a look at the final option, which is the Bionic Tech V2. So the final piece of gear in Alpinestars' arsenal is going to be the Bionic Tech V2. Now, we just talked about the Bionic Pro. That is an all-new offering slotted in between the Bionic Action and the Bionic Tech. The Bionic Tech V2 is actually replacing the old Bionic Tech jacket. And the reason I didn't buy that one originally, and the reason I went for the more affordable Bionic Action wasn't because of the price, was because I tried out the original Bionic Tech. The chest protector, I felt like it was cutting me in the throat. I tried sizing down, I tried sizing up. I could never get it to fit me correctly. This changes all of that. So the Bionic Tech V2 really, in my opinion, is a completely new jacket than what the outgoing one was. And it's more affordable. The old one was sitting around the $300 price point. This actually drops you down to around $270, so less money, more comfortable, and a lot more protection. So just taking a look at this, you now have CE level 2 chest and back protection, as well as CE1 elbow and shoulder included. What you're gonna have is you're gonna have adjusters that adjust via Velcro, and then they snap into place. So once you set the adjustment, those will set into place. You're gonna see you've now gotten away from Velcro for the mount for the bottom of the chest protector, and you're gonna have a snap that snaps into place. You can then adjust that. You're gonna have the kidney belt as well. You'll notice when we get to the back, it's that same height adjustable kidney belt. But the real change here is some of the foam padding and then the way the armor sits into play. So McHugh, face sideways for me, and just hold the arm up a little bit so we can see the outside of this. So you're gonna have this abrasion resistant material which is gonna sit on the outside of the elbow protector. Now, this is not, again, intended for road use, but if you've ever used this stuff off-road, you know that if you hit a rock or a tree really hard, you can shear through a jersey and start to wear through to the armor really quickly on your Under Armour rigs. So this is just to give you an extra layer of abrasion resistance before you get down into the armor itself. It's now a soft armor. So you've gotten away from the hard armor and you've now got this soft armor, much more comfortable, stays in place. And again, I've used more expensive rigs from other brands, and the biggest problem that I have is I crash and the armor for the elbow shifts out of the way. So been super jazzed with how this does actually stay in place. Again, same concerns with the Bionic Pro. Whether or not this stretches out over time is yet to be seen. You're now gonna have the armor on the shoulder is actually now split. It's a more comfortable, softer armor, CE1 still, but it moves with you. So as Pat, just go ahead and swing your arm back and forth there for a second. You'll notice I stepped out of the way because I was afraid you're going to swing too far in the back direction and hit me somewhere I didn't want to be hit. But what you'll notice here is that this actually does move with you, super comfortable when you're wearing it, and it's not as bulky as what was found on even the Bionic Action or the Bionic Tech. So real step up there. Go ahead and face backwards for me. You're going to have the plate. You can pull that off if you want to for the BNS neck brace. You will notice you are going to have that adjuster at the back for this if you want to adjust that kidney belt. This is going to be a CE2 rated back protector now, but the whole material is going to be a stretchy, breathable material. McHugh, you can face forward. If I sound like I'm excited about this, I am, because this is gear that I wear all the time when I'm riding off-road. I have been a huge fan of the Alpinestars Bionic Action Jacket. I am really jazzed to see that the changes that they've made to the Bionic Tech really take it into a whole new level as far as I'm concerned. Improved comfort, improved protection, something you can really wear all day and feel like it's not strangling you. Same thing with the sizing on this. Mr. McHugh is in a large. Sizes will range from small up to a 2XL. The sizing chart can be a little bit confusing, so just keep that in mind. We gave his measurements at the beginning, and he is going to be a large in this. You want it nice and snug against your body. So that is going to wrap up the new line of Alpinestars off-road protection that we're seeing. If you want more information from what other riders are using and how they find this gear to handle itself, you can click the little info button on your desktop or mobile device. You can read other rider reviews from folks that are out there using this off-road. And if you want more information from a Gear Geek's perspective as to what gear is right for you and the style of riding you're doing, you can always give him a shout. 877-792-9455, or simply shoot an email over to cs@revzilla.com. I want to thank you for joining us for this look at the Alpinestars off-road line of protection. I'm Spurge. This is I Am Married Now McHugh. Enjoy the ride.
Hey everyone, Kyle Wolf here at AOMC with another product video. As always, subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the button down below for all the latest content, and of course check out all of the great products, parts, and accessories at aomc.mx. And while you're there, take advantage of the free AOMC Trail Mail, free shipping and handling on orders over $99. Today we're looking at the Risk Racing Palm Protectors. If you've ever been a rider that's had a problem with blisters, or if you're racing, long races, 3 hours, enduro, GNCC, whatever have you, if you're just naturally prone to getting blisters, even on a short 10-15 minute moto, these are a great option to look at. Risk Racing came up with these palm protectors. The blisters, you get blisters typically right here. This is where you get calloused up and everything. This is where the blisters go. Right here, right where the fingers meet the rest of your palm. Sometimes you get them up here, but most of the time it's right down here. Risk Racing came up with a great idea to help protect them and make the long rides very enjoyable, or just any rides really enjoyable and more comfortable. So they came up with these palm protectors. What's really nice is, they have great cushioning, great protection, and they make one for each hand that's even marked as such, so you get them on the right hand, left, and right. All you gotta do is run your hand through the little opening right here and just get them on. And then you got holes for each finger. So you just run your thumb in and all your fingers as such. And you get good protection on everything. Get the band exactly where you need to. Right hand, everything's protected right there on all 4 fingers, including your thumb. Get a little bit of cushion right there, and your glove's still gonna fit on them. You're looking at these thinking, oh, my glove's not gonna fit over that. You'd be surprised. Even with with your regular size glove that you think is still, tight on your hand, you can still get it on there. Great protection. What's really nice about these and other palm protectors is, it forces your hand to open up a little bit more, so you're not gonna get arm pump nearly as badly. You're not death gripping it as much. You're still going to have a tight grip. You're going to grip like you normally would, but your hands open up a little bit more, so it's not constricting everything, and it's not constricting the blood flow. So it's not going to be pumping up. Your arms aren't going to lock up. You get more blood flow flowing through your arms, which is really nice. So it's great protection. Helps with the riding. Just keep everything loose. A little bit more loose moving through. You're not going to get as tired. You're not going to get blistered up. It's just going to make everything more comfortable and better in the long run. So once again, these are the Risk Racing palm protectors. You can find more items like these, any other great products, parts, and accessories at aomc.mx.
What's up, everyone? I am Chase here at Rocky Mountain ATVMC, coming at you with the X8 wrist brace from Mobius. So Mobius is a company that comes out of Idaho, and they got their start a few years back when they came out with the X8 knee brace, which has been a very popular knee brace, has done very well. It's one that I have worn personally, and I've always been very happy with it. Now, at first glance, when we look at the new X8 wrist brace, what excites me about it is 2 things. One, you can see the tendon back plate here on this side. If I flip it over, you can see they're using their CCRS, which stands for Continuous Cable Routing System. Same technology that they use in the X8 knee brace. So they've taken that and they've put it into their wrist brace. Now let's take a step back for a minute. Now when it comes to wrist injuries, you got to think about it. Very common when it comes to off-road riding. Most of the times when riders go down, they extend the arms, they hyperextend the wrist. So that's really the first body part or the joint that's going to make contact with the ground. And that's why it's a very common injury. And that's why Mobius has stepped up their game and they've come out with their new X8 wrist brace. And these are becoming very, very popular. So we'll talk about construction, we'll talk about fitment, and then we'll talk about the big so whats and really what makes this such a great product. So just like with the X8 knee brace, they're using a lot of the same material. So injection molded nylon, so very hard plastic dial up here on the top. If we flip it over and look at the bottom, there's that tendon back plate that I talked about earlier. But you're gonna have EVA foam padding, so very soft, very comfortable. In fact, I'm gonna tell you right now, when I put this wrist brace on, it's very comfortable. It does not migrate, it stays in place very well. Really, really good fitment. Now, with the continuous cable routing system, that's the big standout feature here, and that's what I really want to talk about. And the best way to show you is I'm going to put this thing on so you see exactly what I'm talking about. Now, to put this on, it's super simple. You're going to have this tab right here above your dial. You're just going to pull that up, and that's going to allow you to pull that tendon back plate down. Now, before you pick yours up, remember, they're going to offer this in a couple different sizes. So you're going to want to measure your wrist, look at the sizing guide on the product page. But what they're going to have you do, you're not going to measure the circumference of your wrist, you're going to measure the width of your wrist. So my wrist measures 2.5 inches across, so I'm wearing a size medium large, and this thing fits me spot on. So once you get the size you need, very simple, you're going to undo this strap, and then you're just going to slide your hand through. And another cool feature about these is they are symmetrical. So you can take one that goes on your right wrist and you can put it right onto your left wrist. You don't have to change a thing about these. So once you have that slidden through, you're gonna take this hole, you're gonna put that over your middle finger, and then you're just gonna get everything in place. So you wanna make sure you got a nice good contact with the back of your hand and your wrist. Then you're just gonna snug up this dial, and that's gonna tighten up that tendon back plate, and that's using that CCRS, so Continuous Cable Routing System. So once you get that nice and snug where you have good support, it feels good, you're gonna take this strap, and you're just going to tighten it down. That's going to hold everything in place. Now, a couple things when it comes to adjustability, 2 things actually. So right here on the bottom, this EVA pad that's going around my middle finger, this is adjustable. So you can take that completely off, you can move it forward or move it back. So depending on how long your hand is from the base of your palm to your middle finger where it starts, you got a little bit of adjustability there. And with that tenant back plate, they actually include a second pad. So if you need to, you can swap these out. This one's a little bit thicker that comes included. That's gonna give you a little bit more snug fit. So if you're right between sizes, if you want a little bit more, you can add that different pad, and that's gonna snug things up just a little bit. And keep in mind when you are wearing this, it's gonna be designed to fit over your glove. So when you are trying this on for the first time, put your riding glove on and then put this on over the top of it. Okay, so we have this put on, very simple to do. You saw how quick and easy that was. Again, once it's on, it's not going anywhere, it doesn't migrate. And you can see, and I can actually feel it working, which is so cool. So what they designed this to do with that CCRS is actually mimic really what the ligaments are already doing in your wrist. So when I bend my wrist side to side like this, what's cool about it is that cable progressively tightens up. So as you get that unwanted range of motion side to side or front to back, that continuous cable routing system is working to help support and take away some of that unwanted motion. So that's how it works. It's very simple design, and also you're gonna have another adjustability point, which is how much hyperextension you want. So you're gonna have from 10 degrees to 70. So right now, I have it at 70 degrees, so when I bend my wrist up, I'm at a 70-degree angle right here. So this is as much range of motion as I can get. Now, if I wanted to, I could adjust it down all the way to 10, which is gonna be very little range of motion. And how you do it, super simple. They have this Allen key that comes included, and all you would do is take that Allen key, and there's a small bolt right here on top of the wrist. If you want to have more or less range of motion, you're going to tighten that. If you want more range of motion, you're just going to loosen it. So very simple to do, and that's how it works. So you can have that tenant back plate, that continuous cable routing system, your dial on top to really cinch it down. Other than that, it's really straightforward, very easy to put on. I love the technology. I love what Mobius is doing here. So the last thing that I want to cover real quick is actually a feature that I think is very important. And you can see palm-free design, which means no straps are gonna be crossing my palm. So when I put this thing on, I put my gloves on, I went out, actually hopped on a bike, and I just really like the fact you're getting all that support for the wrist, but I'm still getting a very good interface with the grip. Nothing's gonna be interfering there. So that's really important to me when it comes to a wrist brace. So I like that they've left that palm completely open. Really good design from Mobius. And there it is. That is the X8 wrist brace from Mobius. Again, you're getting that CCRS technology, which progressively tightens to give very good support laterally and for hyperextension. And don't forget, guys, not all injuries are when you crash and fall off the motorcycle or off your ATV. Sometimes if you case a jump hard enough, you get a lot of force that can injure your wrist as well. So this is gonna give a lot of added peace of mind, very good support to the wrist. Great piece of protective equipment coming from Mobius. So head over to our website at RockyMountainATVMC.com to check these out. Remember, look at the sizing guide, but don't forget, we have our fit guarantee. So if you get a size, you're not happy with the fit or the comfort, send it back to us in brand new unworn condition, and we will give you free shipping on your first exchange. If you have questions about these, make sure to comment below, give us a call, or chat live online. We'll get your questions answered. And as always, click subscribe to us on YouTube. That will keep you up to date and in the loop on the latest gear guides and product reviews, just like the one you saw today. I'm Chase here at Rocky Mountain, and we'll see you on the trails.
Hey, this is Anthony with Revzilla TV, where you can watch, decide, and ride. Welcome to our detailed breakdown of the new Liat STX RR Road Racing Neck Brace, available at Revzilla.com. So if you're unfamiliar with what Liat does, they've invented this technology. Started in the dirt world, moved to the street world. Now we have a very specific product built for the tuck on a race bike. This is the Liat STX RR, and it's what we call an alternative load path technology, meaning it takes crash forces that would be transferred to your helmet, to your head, and it routes them past your neck, and it actually transfers them to your body, saving critical areas for damage, which be your cervical vertebrae. That is the key to this. That's why we call it a brace. It's not meant to absorb impact. It's meant to transfer energy and lengthen impact, which allow you to have the best chance of surviving a crash. Now, if you look at it in front of me, it's a very simple device. It slips over the head. It weighs 1.5 pounds, done in carbon fiber, north of $500. And remember, the STX RR is the road race version meant to go in the tuck. That's why it has these foldable wings in the front. There's also the STX, which is meant for 3/4 or upright riding, that will protect you better for normal riding. This is really designed for tuck riding or track riding in hardcore scenarios. So thinking through the 5 types of crash, the 5 types of impact, that's really the biggest benefit you get from the Liat. It's meant to sit on your body and come as close to your helmet as it can in the tuck position while allowing you to still look through turns, exit corners, do all those things. And that's going to be the big change here with the STX RR versus the original STX, which was not meant for the track. Now there are 5 types of energy, 5 types of crashes this is going to protect you against. It's going to protect you against the most common and most deadly, which is hyperflexion, where almost your chin wants to go to your belly button and your chin will hit the table of this protector. It'll protect you against hyperextension, with your head going back, and then lateral hyperflexion, which is left to right, side to side. There are also 2 other types of crash impacts and energies, which are very, very serious and can cause a great deal of injury. And that's going to be hypertranslation, which is almost a shearing force applied directly to the front of your head, and then that axial loading, which is an angular force to the top of the head, pressing your spine down and compressing it at an angle where the helmet hopefully will come into contact with the collar and really stop and transfer that energy to your body. Now quickly, I talked a little bit earlier about how close this should sit to your helmet, and the general rule of thumb is as close as possible without getting in the way. I'm going to talk about some of the adjustability here, but it's very easy to set up. Remember, it's meant to sit on top of your road rising leathers or your race leathers. It's meant to use these scapular wings in the back that sit on top or on the sides of your race hump, and they sit down along your shoulder blades, keeping your race hump area free. And remember too, there are these pads underneath. They sit on top of what would be your trapezius muscles. And remember, this comes in the stock configuration that's very easy to set up, but you want it to stay as high as possible off your body and close to your helmet. You also notice too that very simply, to have a friend do this, you'd place this on over top of your leathers with your helmet on, and you have the ability to move these struts, these aluminum struts on both sides, and I'll show you really quickly. You pop that, and you'll see as I pop it out, I'm going to slide it back here. And here's my aluminum adjuster. Notice 5 positions, and if you want to use the smaller ones, you're going to actually have to irreparably cut off 15 millimeters there. They made sure that I understood that with smaller riders if you're really thin front to back. So you adjust this so it sits as snugly as possible without getting in the way, and then you use an Allen key to adjust the angle of your wings to make sure that these interface properly with your race hump. It's very simple. You set it up once and you're good to go. And remember, it should be as tight as possible without being a distraction, without getting in the way, and the height of this is adjustable again to be as high as possible, because what happens is as soon as there's an impact that's introduced, you want your helmet to come in contact with the collar or come in contact with the table area as soon as possible to begin that energy alternative path to get it around your neck and move into your body. And remember, as always, we're going to ship for free, especially on a product this technical and this level of investment. And as always, you can click right here, subscribe to us at Revzilla TV. I'd love to hear your comments, your questions about the Liat STX RR road brace. Now, in this section, let's walk through the anatomy of the table itself. Let's talk through the entire anatomy of the product and really how you use it on a day-to-day level. Starting at the bottom, you have these adjustable wings here that come down from these struts. The struts don't move, but the wings do. And what the wings do is when you are in that tuck position, they're really going to allow the brace to get out of the way. That's why you wouldn't use a normal Liat STX, because the table does not get out of the way. In this position, in the tuck, it folds down, it actually gets out of the way, and then if you were to come off your bike, what would happen is straightening out your body from the tuck, it would immediately pop into the proper position and get the table in the position to catch the helmet. Moving up from there, you see what they call the chin hammock. It's a rubberized piece that's designed to catch your actual chin or the chin bar of your helmet if you get into one of those hyperflexion scenarios where the top of your head, and many times that happens from the rider going over the handlebars and hitting on their back and having their chin really be pressed down very hard. That's going to come here, and this makes sure that you don't break your jaw or break your chin, or gives you a better chance to survive a crash like that. Moving into the table, you'll notice there's a soft or a rubberized plastic that moves all the way around. That's for 2 reasons. The first reason is to create a tacky zone for the helmet to dig into to stop the helmet. If it was completely slick or carbon fiber all the way around, you could have the element of the helmet actually deflecting off and transferring the energy in a different direction. It's meant to take the hit. The other thing about this rubber is even when I flip it upside down, you're going to see it coats that carbon fiber. So if there are definitely scenarios in a gnarly enough crash where you're going to break this device, it's meant to sacrifice its life to save you. And what happens there is by having that rubberized coating, it's not going to have anything that's going to be sharp or carbon fiber coming in contact with your skin. Notice too, as you move back, use a dime or a screwdriver for emergency EMTs to quickly remove it from you front to back if they log roll you over, if you do happen to go down, you're unconscious. But really with your helmet off, it just comes right over the head. Moving back into the table, again, you see more rubberized area, and then you see a 10 millimeter pad here in the back that's going to give you additional room to catch that helmet in the back. And remember, it's all about being in the right position on the bike, but closing the gap. Even for you For you tall guys, you're going to want to leave this in the stock configuration because you want it to sit closer to your helmet. The only time that people are really removing this pad or removing these trapezius load areas here that are 6mm, which you can pop them right off and actually lower the profile, are guys that are really, really short or have a really, really short neck. Now moving to the back, we talked about the adjusters here. We talked about how you would adjust the wings. These are designed to break away as well, these scapular wings. But again, very simple setup. The actual table here along the back of the head is meant to break away as well. If you end up low siding or end up on your back, it's not going to catch. It's actually going to crumble and break right off. Again, it's meant to get out of the way, but do a great job at catching the helmet, stopping the rotational forces, trying to lengthen the impact, get the rotational deceleration off of your brain, because that's what is the biggest killer. It's the quick stopping of your brain inside your skull, and transfer that energy off of the brace, off of your helmet, and into your body. So remember, when fit properly, these straps are either going to go under your arms, you're going to be able to crisscross them, really no challenge there to get this seated in the right position. And remember, when you're in the tuck, it's out of the way, and then when you come off the bike, your body straightens out. As in a crash situation, it straightens out, it ends up right back where you need it to be. Now we talk about the energy transferring. Where does it go? It goes to your soft tissue. It goes to the muscles in your back. It goes to your chest. If this did its job and you were in a gnarly crash, you're going to end up with some bruising. But bruised is way better than broken when you talk about parts of your body like your cervical vertebrae, which most people either don't ever recover for or never come back 100% from. And that's really the key when you're using a product like this. Now from the opinion side of things, we have tested it here at RevZilla.com. We've had a handful of our track day guys go out in it. And honestly, a mixture of small guys and big guys. And one of our guys here, if you ever come to the RevZilla store, Bobby Bucksbaum, is a diehard 30-year-plus racer and track day enthusiast, and he diehard fell in love with this product. He found it to be unencumbering. He found it to get completely out of the way when tuned properly and fit properly to his body, and it did not impede him at all in riding in the tuck, in entering and exiting corners, in looking through the corners. Again, it's all about adjusting it properly, having it in the proper position on his bike, and I believe that he is still riding in one now, even after using it the first time. So from a RevZilla standpoint, we're certainly endorsing it as a product that furthers the safety and enjoyment in the sport, and hopefully allows people to stay safer when they're pushing the envelope and the extremes of the newer technology that's making its way into the performance of the bikes. So next step in your journey is to click right here, read other rider reviews at RevZilla.com. You don't have to take my word for it, but I certainly hope that I was able to educate you today on why you choose the STX RR versus the STX, which is built for road riding, not racing, and how to properly fit it so you're using it properly and getting the best chance to survive. Click here, read those other rider reviews at RevZilla.com. As always, we're going to ship for free, and if you want to talk to a gear geek, give us a shout. We use this product. See us at RevZilla.com or 877-792-9455. Thanks for watching our detailed breakdown of the new Liat STX RR neck brace. I'm Anthony. We'll see you next time.
Spurgeon here with RevZilla to talk to you today about the Liat Contour elbow guards available at RevZilla.com. Now, the Liat Contour elbow guards are going to be the same protection that you're going to see in Liat's 3.0 guards, but you get the addition of a comfort sleeve. This is going to help to wick away sweat, and it's going to be more comfortable than the X straps that are going to be used to mount the 3.0 to your arm. Now, as far as sizing is concerned with the overall sleeve, there's going to be 3 different sizes: small to medium, large to extra large, and 2XL. Now this is an elasticated stretchy material, so it does have a tendency to give, but you still want to get those measurements right, and I find that Liat's size chart does a good job of putting you exactly where you need to be. Now, the sizing is going to be done around the bicep, and I like to measure it in the non-flex position. So if you hold your arm out straight and you simply measure around your bicep, I measured mine at 34 centimeters, and the large, extra large option fits me nicely. Keep in mind you want it snug enough that it stays into place, it's not sliding down on you, but you don't want it so snug that when you actually flex your arm or flex your muscles when you're riding, that it actually starts to cause pain or cut off circulation. Now, Liat is known for their world of protection and their world in the off-road riding market. And what we're going to see with the Contour guards are going to be coming in around the $60 price point, standalone elbow armor that are going to fit comfortably and nicely underneath your jersey. Now, when we're talking about the protection on this is going to utilize their 3DF foam. And if you want to take a look at where this falls in their lineup, this is going to be, like I said, a step above the 3.0s. The 3.0 is going to give you the same protection, except for it's going to utilize an X strap. A step up from this would be their hybrids. The hybrid guard is going to give you 3DF foam, but they're gonna just give you a little bit of abrasion resistance at the bottom while still maintaining a little bit more of a comfort, larger swath of foam up top. Now, when we're taking a look at the contours, like I said, same protection, 3DF foam, and this is gonna be very similar to something like D3O. We're all very familiar with D3O. Their 3DF foam works in the same way. The molecules lock upon impact, and it deflects that impact away from you. Now, this is gonna be multi-use. You can crash in it over and over again. It's not gonna hinder the overall protection, but what you could damage would be the TPU shell on the outside. And they add a TPU shell just for a little bit of abrasion resistance, and you can see it is vented, so that works to go right through with the direct venting that you would see lining the foam as well, which helps to have these just breathe very nicely. Now, the other thing that's gonna be coming into play is the sleeve on this. And the sleeve on this works as well to make sure this is breathing nicely. It's their moisture cool material, and this helps to just take sweat and wick it away from the body. Now, when you're looking at this, you are going to notice there is going to be silicone, which is going to sit really nicely on the overall point on your elbow where this would actually meet up. So if you are wearing this over top of a base layer, that's going to work to hold this in place. And you're also going to notice a dual bead of silicone right at the top around the bicep, again, to make sure it's not sliding down on you when you are riding around in aggressive situations. The sleeve just works nicely as opposed to the X straps you're going to see in the 3.0s to give you a more comfortable option than those X straps would be. And it really works to hold the contours to your body, no pun intended, in more of a contoured fashion. Now, there's a lot of riders out there rocking Leatt, and Leatt has a lot of options. So if you want to hear more about what other riders have to say, click the info button on your desktop or mobile device to read what other riders are rocking from Leatt when they're out there getting dirty on their bikes. If you have more questions for us, never hesitate to grab the phone, give us a call, 877-792-9455, or simply type us out an email, cs@revzilla.com. Thank you for joining us for this look at the Leatt Contour Elbow Guards. I'm Spurge. Enjoy the ride.
Hey everyone, this is Chase at Rocky Mountain ATVMC, and this is our 2019 Knee Brace Buyer's Guide. All right, so if you are shopping for your next set of knee braces, I have to admit you have a difficult decision ahead of you. We have a lot of great knee braces that we offer at Rocky Mountain, and the good news is they're all really good knee braces. The difficult part is knowing which one you think is going to be best for you. So we are here to help you out. As you can see on the table in front of me, we have 6 different knee braces that we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to go through, talk about each one briefly. I'll cover the key features and the highlights of each to help you know what we think makes them unique and separates them from the rest. And when you find one that you're interested in, do yourself a favor, watch the product spotlights that we have on these braces where we break them down into full detail. Now, we know when it comes to knee braces that fitment is crucial, so make sure always use the sizing guides on the product pages. But these are an apparel item, which means if you buy any knee brace that we sell at Rocky Mountain, if you're not happy with the sizing or fitment, send it back to us in brand new, unused condition. We give free shipping both ways on your first exchange. We call it our fit guarantee because we want to make sure that you get the correct size. So with all that out of the way, let's get started with brace number 1. All right, so first knee brace that we have in the lineup is the X-Frame coming from Leatt. Now, right off the bat, one feature I really like about this brace is the price point. There's a lot of riders that want to get into a high-quality knee brace but not break the bank. And that's what you're getting here with the X-Frame. You're going to be about $450, which makes them the least expensive knee brace that is in our lineup today. But along with that, a lot of great features built in. Carbon composite frame, so it keeps it lightweight but also rigid. You're going to see with the kneecap, and this goes for all the other braces in our lineup today, you are going to have full kneecap protection. So if you do have a crash, you've got very good impact protection there. With the hinge on here, what I like is that you have a metal gear hinge, so great durability with this brace. But also you're going to see that it's asymmetric. So the reason that the hinges are asymmetric is to help, mimic the anatomical shape of the rider's knee and also the leg. Now, as I mentioned earlier, fitment is crucial when it comes to knee braces. So make sure you use the sizing guides on the product pages for these braces You want to make sure that you have a nice fit on the inside and outside of the knee, as well as the upper and lower cuff. And the reason for that is you want the knee brace to be as one with your leg. So you want to have a good snug fit. So what I like is that they include these extra pads that are a little bit thicker than the ones that come in the brace. So if needed, you just install these and that will give you a little bit tighter fit. You also can adjust the extension of this brace. This is going to be for all the braces in the lineup as well. You have these extension stops, so if you want the knee brace to lock out before it goes vertical in that kind of danger zone for the knee, well, then you can actually just insert one of those and it will lock out previous or before it gets that vertical position. Now, the last feature about the X-Frame that I want to highlight that I really like, and there's only one other knee brace in our lineup that has this as well, is that these are FDA certified as a medical device. And what that means is that if you go to your doctor and he writes you a prescription for knee braces, because these are FDA certified, there is a billing code, so there's a very good chance that you can submit that to your insurance company and they will help you out when it comes to the expenses of the knee brace. So like I said, only one other knee brace in the lineup that offers that. So again, if you're looking for a high quality knee brace that is going to be budget friendly, has good adjustability, and is going to be an FDA certified with the billing code, then the X-Frame is going to be a rock solid option. All right, so second knee brace in the lineup, we've got the Axis Pro and the Axis Sport from EVS. Now the reason I have both of these up here is that they're almost the exact same knee brace. The only difference between them is with the Axis Pro, your upper and lower cuffs are made from carbon fiber, whereas with the Axis Sport, the cuffs are made from injection molded nylon, and I'll talk about those differences and help you choose between these here in a minute. But a couple features about these that I like. First of all, with fitment. These are, you'll notice that compared to the other knee braces in the lineup, these are the shortest. So for riders with shorter legs, or maybe if you just don't like a knee brace that feels really long, this would be a good option. With the strap design, one of my favorites, you have 4 straps, but you have a 5th strap that they call their comfort compression strap. You'll see it down here at the bottom. So this just wraps around the rider's leg, the lower leg, the calf area. And what I like about it, it just helps secure the knee brace in place so it doesn't slide. A lot of riders have that concern that knee braces will move on them. So by having that compression strap there, it just helps keep the knee brace in place. Now with the hinge design, a couple unique features about this. So they use their patented True Motion 2.0 hinge design. So it's a dual alloy hinge, so great durability, but also it's just built to help mimic the natural movement, again, of the rider's leg and also the knee. And these were designed after an orthopedic knee brace. So you're getting that True Motion 2.0 hinge. Again, just like we saw with that X-Frame from Liat, you have additional pads that come included so you can adjust the width inside the knee to make sure you get that correct fitment. You also do have your hyperextension stops to adjust where that knee brace locks out. Now between the Axis Pro and the Sport, to help you decide between the two which one you think will be best, a couple things to consider. With the Axis Pro, okay, being carbon fiber upper and lower cuffs, very rigid, very little flex to these. Whereas with the Axis Sport, being injection molded nylon cuffs, a lot more flex, a lot more give to those cuffs. Also, you are going to save some money going down to the Axis Sport. So really, ultimately, it's just going to be up to the rider. But again, that is the Axis Pro and the Axis Sport coming from EVS. All right, so third up on the list, we've got the Pod K8 2.0. So we saw the previous K from Pod for multiple years, great knee brace, but in 2018, they updated it, they refined a couple things to make it even better. I've worn this knee brace personally. I'm a big fan. Some features about it that I really like. The first one is with the frame and Pod's warranty. So it's a carbon fiber frame. Pod gives a 5-year warranty on this frame. So if you break it within 5 years, which I think is highly unlikely, they will warranty it for you. But the upper and lower cuffs are made from a softer material to help it fit the contour of the upper and lower leg better. But I like too, the kneecap is more low profile now, so it's a little bit slimmer fitting. You can see great protection for the entire knee. But what's very unique about the K8 2.0 is with their hinge design. So we're seeing this carry over from the previous K8. What they use is called their human motion hinge technology. So inside this hinge, rather than being mechanical like we see with the other braces, they use a synthetic ligament. Now this is made out of a material called Vectran. It's 5 times stronger than steel. They do 100,000 cycles on these to make sure they have good durability. But you can see these are meant to mimic the actual natural movement of the ligaments inside the knee. And by using these versus a mechanical hinge, Pod says that it just helps mimic the natural movement and motion of the rider's knee and also the leg. Now going along with that, you can see these extra pads do come included. Those go on the inside of the knee to help give a better fit. You also do have these progressive dampener inserts that go inside the hinge as well to help dampen the knee brace as you're getting closer to that lockout point. Now the last feature about these that I really like, we talked about this with the X-Frame from Liat, is this is the only other knee brace in the lineup that is FDA certified as a medical device. So again, if you talk to your doctor, he writes a prescription, talk to your insurance, they are probably going to work with you when it comes to the cost of your knee braces. So again, that is the Pod K8 2.0. All right, so fourth up on the list, we've got the Fluid Tech Carbon and the Fluid Pro coming from Alpine Stars. The only difference between the two is going to be in their construction. So with the Fluid Tech Carbon, obviously you have a carbon frame, and then with the Fluid Pro, you're going to have a polymer frame. Now, with these braces, the first thing that really stands out about these is with their weight. So the Fluid Tech Carbon comes in at 1.3 pounds. In fact, the Fluid Pro is only a few ounces more, so it is the lightest knee brace that is in our lineup today. Also, just looking at it, one thing I'll tell you, very low profile. When I put this knee brace on, in my opinion, it is the most low profile knee brace that is in our lineup. So if you like a knee brace that's going to be very slim, this would be a really good route to take. You have great kneecap protection, dual pivoting hinge on both sides. But what I really like about their hinge system and what Alpine Stars is really focused on with this brace is making sure that you get a really good fitment. So with this strap system, you can see it's a little bit different. You don't just have individual 4 straps. Instead, you have these X straps here in the back, which I think do a great job of securing the brace and holding it in place. But when you look at that hinge system, okay, remember, dual pivoting hinge. But what I like is you have a lot of adjustability here to adjust the width on the inside. And what I mean by that is you have these ErgoFit spacers, you can see that come included, but they have an additional set that come. They're going to be a little bit wider. So if you want to narrow down the inside of the knee, you just put these other ErgoFit spacers in there. But aside from these, you also have these little spacers that come included. So if you really want to just fine tune and get those real fine adjustments by just a millimeter or two, they have these spacers that you can put right on the inside of these ErgoFit spacers. So again, they're just really focusing on making sure you can fine tune the fitment and get it exactly where you want it. So I'm a big fan of that. Going along with that, you do have extension stops. These are right here, these little red inserts. These just insert right here in the front of the knee brace. Again, if you want to have the knee brace lock out before 0, you have multiple different inserts that you can choose from. But again, very lightweight, very low profile, and really choosing between the two, there's just a few ounces in weight difference. But also what I really like about that Fluid Pro is you're going to save over $200 if you're willing to sacrifice just a couple ounces. But as the Fluid Tech Carbon and the Fluid Pro coming from Alpine Stars. So fifth up on our list, we've got the X8 coming from Mobius. Now Mobius is a company out of Idaho, and they haven't been around as long as the other companies in our lineup, but they came out with the X8 just a few years ago and has quickly become very popular. I've ridden in this knee brace. I'm a big fan. A lot of features about it that I really like. First thing I want to highlight that I like is with the kneecap design. You can see it's an overlapping design. So what it does, I think, just allows it to be very low profile, nice and streamlined. If you look at the back here, 4-strap system plus their tenon backplate I'll cover in just a second. Probably my favorite strap design that you have of all the knee braces. They're nice and wide, which I like, so they do a great job of holding the knee brace in place. But a very unique feature that Mobius has is their tenon backplate. It's this big piece right here in the back. So this is on there by their CCRS, called their Continuous Cable Routing System. So what this does, there's a little tab right here in the front. If I lift up on this, this allows me to pull this tenon backplate out. So after you put the knee brace on, you're going to slide your leg through, and then all you're going to do is just take this twist down the front, and you twist this. And as I do that, you'll see that tenon backplate cinch down. And by having that tenon backplate there, it rests right on the back of the knee. So they say that it really just helps support the back of the knee and the ligaments that are there. You've got a dual pivoting hinge as well. So very good construction with this brace. The way you adjust the fitment is pretty simple. Mobius just includes a full set of pads. You have a thinner and a thicker option. This pad right here actually just goes right here inside the knee, so you can adjust that or interchange those if you want to. You also have an extra set of pads, a thicker and a thinner version for the back of that tenon backplate. So it's very easy with this brace using these pads to get that fit that you are looking for. You also do have an adjustable extension stop. You can see it's actually right here in the center where that kneecap is. So all you have to do is just take this one out. You take one of these that come included, and then you would just install that right here in the center. And again, that will lock the knee brace out prior to fully extending. So that's the X8 coming from Mobius. Again, very unique, using that tenon backplate and their continuous cable routing system. All right, so last but not least, we've got the Ultracell and the Ultracell 2.0 coming from Asterisk. The difference between these two is going to be in their strap system. I'll point that out here in just a bit. But Asterisk is a knee brace company that's been around for a lot of years, and as you're about to find out, they make very technical knee braces. Now, right off the bat, one feature I really like about these is their adjustable cuff system. You know, with any knee brace, it's really important that with the upper and lower cuff, you want to have a good fit to the rider's leg, so the knee brace is really just working as one with the rider. But I don't think anybody does it as good as Asterisk. So with their upper and lower cuffs, what is unique is you have this tool that comes included. In the cuffs, you have these 2 metal bands that wrap around. So once you put the knee brace on, to get a customized fit to your leg, all you have to do is just take this tool that comes included, you insert it here on the side, And all you're gonna do is just tighten this down, and as you tighten that down, those 2 screws, it will actually make that cuff start to mold and fit to the rider, to the shape of the rider's leg. And once you set it once, you don't have to touch it again. So it's set it and forget it, and it gives a really good customized fit with those cuffs. So I like that. Another unique feature getting here with the Ultracell is you get the BOA system with their straps. So the way you put this on is really simple. You have these straps here on the outside, you take these, you hook these on, and once you've done that, you take this BOA dial, you just start to twist it, and as you do, it'll start to tighten everything down, and it gives a good just overall fit to the back of the strap so you don't have any pinch points. It gives nice even pressure throughout that entire strap. You have that in the top as well as the bottom. And that's going to be the difference between the Ultracell and the Ultracell 2.0 is the 2.0 has the same strap design, but you don't have that BOA system. So for some riders that don't want as much bulk in the back of the knee brace, the 2.0 would be the better option. So I really like the strap design that they have with that BOA system, but when you look at the front here, so they call it their ACM frame. So it's an anatomically correct frame, and that goes in conjunction with their glide hinge system. So you can notice when I bend this knee brace, you can see very technical hinge that they have. So having that being asymmetrical along with the frame just allows the upper and lower part of the leg to align correctly and to follow the natural movement of the knee. So I really like what Asterisk does with this brace. And also you'll notice that here on the side, okay, on the lateral and medial side of that hinge, you can adjust the hyperextension lockout point. And the way you do it is really simple. Take that exact same tool that I just showed you for the cuffs. You actually just insert it right here on the side. You tighten it down, and that will actually make the knee brace lock out sooner. So it's very easy to adjust that. So props to Asterisk for making this simple to do. Now the last thing with this knee brace I want to highlight that no other knee brace that we've shown in the guide today does is they have their anti-rotational tether system. So it's down here at the bottom. So this comes included with the boot. So you can see you've got your buckle down here at the bottom. You have your strap. So you're actually going to install this strap on your boot. It takes a little bit of work. It's not that difficult, but you have this attached to your boot. And then all you do, once you've done that, you just attach the buckle, you clip the buckle in. And by doing that, what you're doing is you're connecting the rider's boot to the actual knee brace. So that way, as you're riding, maybe you dab your leg or you get your leg caught in a rut and you get that violent jerk to your leg, it rips it maybe to the outside. Well, what that does is that will actually help keep the knee brace connected to the rider's boot so everything is moving as one. You got to remember that rotational injury is another easy way that you can injure the knee. So by having that tether connected to your boot, everything is going to help just work more as one. So it's a really cool feature that Asterisk is coming with that tether. So again, if you're looking for a knee brace that is super technical, that in my opinion has the best adjustable cuff system, it is the Ultracell and the Ultracell 2.0 coming from Asterisk. All right, everyone, so there you have it. That is our 2019 knee brace buyer's guide. Now, if you have one of the knee braces up here that we talked about, feel free to leave your comments below. Let us know what you think about it. That's going to help other riders out. And lastly, I will just leave you with this. You have to remember that knee braces, yes, they're a big investment, but they're built to help prevent knee injuries. You don't want to go have a knee injury and then go out and buy a set of knee braces. You also have to consider hospital bills are a lot more than a set of knee braces are going to be, and you have all that time that you're going to miss riding. So if you're on the fence, in my opinion, well worth the investment. To pick up your next set, it's real simple. Just click on the link at the end of this video. Remember, guys, orders over $75 ship free. If you like this buyer's guide, well, get subscribed to our YouTube channel, because we have a lot more buyer's guides for all moto gear. We have how-to videos, product spotlights, everything that you need to get rocking and rolling. I am Chase. We'll see you on the trails. Hey everyone, I'm Chase at Rocky Mountain ATVMC, and this is our 2019 Premium Off-Road Boot Buyer's Guide. So if you are shopping for a premium boot, well, you have come to the right place. We all know that boots, they are a big investment, but it can be very difficult to choose which boot you think is going to be best suited for you. And man, it is tough, because all the boots that we're going to talk about today, they're all so good. But me just telling you that, that's not going to make it any easier for you. So we're going to help break it down. We're going to give you some good information to help you know which boot you think might be best suited for you. So in this video today, we've got our top 5 premium motocross boots. And as always, I'm going to go through, I'm going to talk about some of the key features and the highlights that each one of these has. But we've also done a little bit more homework for you. So myself, along with multiple other riders here at Rocky Mountain, we have all tried all these boots on back to back. We've actually ranked them in order from the stiffest all the way down to the boot with the most flex right out of the box, as well as comfort, just to help give you a little bit more feedback, some more information about sizing, about fitment, to help make that decision just a little bit easier. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so the first boot in our lineup is one that I have worn personally that I'm a big fan of, and it is the SG12 coming from Garnet. So Garnet is an Italian company known for making very high quality boots with very good durability, and that's what you're getting here with the SG12. Now remember, like I mentioned earlier, we have ranked these boots in order of stiffness. So yes, the SG12 right out of the box for us was the stiffest boot, but what you need to know about these, and I can tell you from my own experience, is that they take time to break in. So be patient with these. They're gonna feel stiff, but the more you ride in them, the more flex, the more feel you're gonna have. So it just takes a little bit of time. But what I like also though is that with the toe box, it's a bit wider toe box. So for riders with wider feet, these will accommodate you better. Also the sole. If you look at the sole, it's that traditional stitched on sole, lasts a very long time, it is replaceable. It's a dual compound, but just know that with the SG12, the sole is very stiff. That goes along with the boot. So you're not gonna have as much feel on the foot pegs with these, in my opinion, as you're gonna get with some of the other boots in the lineup. But like I said, they're going to last a very long time. A couple other features I like about these, the buckle design, some of my favorite, even when they're muddy, gunked up with dirt, they still operate extremely well. You have a glide hinge system on the lateral and medial side, so rather than just pivoting, they glide, and that works in conjunction with the razorback system that is unique that Garnet uses to help this whole boot just work together. And the last feature that I do like about these is that around the ankle area, you have memory foam padding, so right when you slip the boot on, very comfortable. Just remember, it takes a little bit of time to break in. But this is the SG12 from Garnet. All right, so second boot in the lineup, we've got the all-new Tech 10 coming from Alpinestars. Now, if you are familiar with motocross boots, chances are you know much about the Tech 10 because for years, it's been one of the most popular flagship boots. Now, in 2018, Alpinestars, they went back to the drawing board. They completely redesigned this, so forget what you know about the old model because a lot has changed. Now, with the fit of the new Tech 10, a little bit wider toe box, so it accommodates wide feet well. Very comfortable right out of the box. Now, just like with the SG12, it's going to have a little bit more flex than the SG12, but you got to keep in mind, like we talked about earlier, it takes a little bit of time for these to break in. So if it feels stiff right out of the box, it's okay. Just give it some time. It will get some more flex down the road. But with the new model, a lot of changes. You now have a dual pivot system, so lateral and medial side have a pivot. That's going to help with the flexibility. But Alpinestars put a lot of emphasis on support and protection for the rider's ankles and for the rider's feet. So a couple of the features I really like. You still have the flex blade system in the front and the rear. We saw that with the previous model. That's going to help with hyperflexion and hyperextension. But now what they have added, you'll see in the front here, it's called this frontal flex control system. So what it essentially does is just connects this lower buckle to the upper flex blade, and that will actually give dampening support. So in hyperflexion, when the knee's bending forward, it will help absorb that energy and disperse it through the boot rather to the rider's leg and to the rider's ankle. And you will actually feel that. When you put this on and you bend forward, you will feel this actually come into play and help absorb that energy. So I'm a big fan of that. The other feature I really like is in the heel. So a lot of riders have injuries when it comes to heels from big impacts. Say they jump off the bike, you hit the eject button in the middle of the air. So what Alpinestars has now done is that in the heel cup area, underneath the actual foot bed, they have an insert that is a polyfoam crushable material. So let's say you go off a jump, you hit the eject button, you land feet first. Well, that crushable material is going to help absorb that energy and help reduce the chances of an injury to the rider's heel as well as the ankle. And that insert is replaceable. So if you were to crush, you can send these back in and they will replace it for you. The last feature I want to talk about with these that I like I mentioned, this is the only boot in the lineup that comes with an inner bootie. Keep in mind, you do need to wear the bootie to put on the boot. These are going to be way too loose if you tried to ride without this, but this is a big safety feature. You can see on the bootie that you have these torsional bars on the medial and lateral side. That is going to give very good lateral rigidity. So you're getting that good support from the bootie, but you're also combining that with the support you already get from the boot itself. And overall, rock solid boot. I love the updates that they made to this. This is the Tech 10 from Alpinestars. All right, so third up on the list, we've got the Crossfire 3 SRS coming from CD. Now, SRS stands for Sole Replacement System. I'll explain that more here in just a bit. But first, fitment with the Crossfire 3. It's going to be a little bit more of a narrow toe box when you compare this to the Tech 10 or the SG12, so just keep that in mind. But what I like about this is that right out of the box, you are going to have quite a bit more flexion compared to the Tech 10 and the SG12. So if you like a boot right out of the box that can have a little bit more flex, not as much break-in time, then I think this would be a really good option. Now, first glance, you'll notice very unique looking boot. Okay, and what CD has done here, you can see lots of hard plastic parts, so great protection, but you're going to notice all these screws that you have on the outside. And the reason for that is pretty much everything on this is going to be replaceable. So any parts that wear out, you can just take them off and replace it. That's what all the screws are for. So that goes for the shin plate, the calf plate, the protectors around the ankle, this little piece, this insert here on the inside of the foot that connects or contacts the bike. That's replaceable. And that leads me to the SRS sole. So it stands for Sole Replacement System. There's a lot of riders out there that don't like the idea of sending off their boot to either the boot company or to a shoe cobbler to have their sole replaced. So CD just says, you know what, do it from your own home. And the way they do that, you've got this middle insert on the sole. You can see the screws that hold it on. So if you do wear through this, you can just unscrew it, you buy a new one, you screw it back on, and you are good to go. Now, a couple things about the sole that I want to point out is that I love the sole replacement system, but something you need to know is that this sole is very stiff. It doesn't have as much feel on the foot peg as some of the other boots in the lineup. So just keep that in mind. If you're a rider that likes to have a lot of feel on the foot peg and know exactly what's going on underneath your feet, this is going to be a little bit stiff or a little bit more rigid. So just keep that in mind. But you're going to notice here with the ankle that you have a pivoting system on the lateral and medial side. It's actually more of a glide system. And what I like is that you do have these hyperextension stops that are built in, so it's going to give good protection for the ankle. But overall, rock solid boot from CD. I'm a big fan. Again, everything on here is replaceable, so it's going to give you great longevity. Just remember a little bit more of a narrow toe box, but overall, very unique boot from CD. All right, boot number 4, we have got the Tech 7 from Alpinestars. This is the baby brother to the Tech 10. Now with the Tech 7, something that for me really stands out, that in my opinion, bang for your buck, this is one of the best values in a premium motocross boot. You're gonna be about $200 less than the other boots that are in the lineup today. But with fitment with these, couple things we like. A little bit wider toe box, so great for riders that have wider feet. And myself included, and all the other riders that put this on, the first thing we said when we put this on was, wow, this is a comfortable boot. So very little break-in time, extremely comfortable. I feel like I could put this on, I could walk around in it all day, my feet are not going to hurt. So very comfortable, but there is one thing that we feel you sacrifice a little bit with the Tech 7, and that's the heel float. So compared to the other boots in the lineup that we talked about today, it doesn't hold the ankle and the heel as secure. So when you do walk around, you do get a little bit more heel float than the other boots. But for us, it's not gonna be a deal breaker, but just something to keep in mind. But looking at it here, a lot of DNA from the Tech 10 that they put into the Tech 7. Same buckle design. You're just going to get 4 buckles instead of 3, but I already told you I love the buckles that they use on these. And also, again, at this price point, about $350, you're going to get a pivoting ankle on the lateral and medial side. And don't let the price tag fool you. There are a lot of top-level riders that still wear the Tech 7 instead of the Tech 10. So if you're looking for a boot that is super comfortable right out of the box, very little break-in time, that's going to give good support, good protection, Tech 7 is an awesome route to take. All right, 5th and final boot we have in the lineup. This is the Instinct coming from Fox Racing. Now, cool fact about the Instinct is as Fox was designing these, they actually had Ricky Carmichael as one of their test riders. So when you got Ricky Carmichael, the GOAT, helping you make a boot, you're gonna have a good final product. Now, a couple things on fitment with the Instinct you wanna keep in mind. Fits a little bit narrow in the toe box, and as far as the sizing goes, runs just a little bit small. So if you are right between sizes, we would actually recommend going up one size. But what you need to know about these is that right out of the box for all of us, these have the most flex, so 0 to little break-in time. So if that's something that you're looking for, this would be a really good option. I've actually spent a lot of time in the Instinct, and for me personally, the boot feels almost the exact same as it does the first day I put it on and then 6 months later. So the way it feels right out of the box is how it's going to feel further down the road. A couple other things I like. The sole. This boot, in my opinion, gives the most foot peg feel of all the boots that we've shown you today. So if you like to have a lot of feel on your foot pegs, know exactly what's going on underneath your feet, no boot, in my opinion, does it better than the Instinct. I love the buckle design, very easy to operate. You've got your dynamic core stabilized system in the rear, so that's gonna allow to have that good flex right out of the box, but you can see you have this hyperextension lockout point that I like down here at the bottom as well, and you are gonna have a pivot system on the medial and the lateral side as well. But overall, if you're looking for a boot that is super comfortable, right out of the box, good flexibility, and is going to have really good feel on the foot pegs, then the Instinct is the way to go. All right, everyone, so there it is. That is our 2019 Premium Boot Buyer's Guide. Now, if you have any other questions or any other feedback that you would like, leave your comments below and we'll help get those answered. If you have one of the boots that we talked about today, leave your comments below. Let us know what boot you have, what you like about it, also what you don't like about it. That's going to help other riders out there looking to pick up their next set. Don't forget that we have product spotlights on each one of these, so if you find one that you like, watch that product spotlight where I break it down into full detail. If If you like this buyer's guide, well, do not hesitate. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you stay up to date on the latest gear guides, product reviews, and how-to videos that we are constantly filming. I am Chase. We'll see you on the trails.
Spurgeon here with Revzilla, and in this video we're going to break down the 100% Omega goggles available at Revzilla.com. So what you're going to see on the table is probably one of the coolest pair of goggles that I've seen in a while. I bought a pair, these guys right here, as soon as they came out. My buddy Matt Broughton bought a pair, those right there. So you'll notice that they're already dirty and used because we've been testing these for the past couple of weeks. So why these are important? First of all, if you've ever tried to change your goggle lenses on the side of the trail using old traditional 100% goggles, I've been using the Accurys and the Racecrafts for years. They are damn near impossible to do without creating a giant mess and getting the goggle lenses all smeared up. And if you're trying to do it on the side of the trail, you have to give yourself like 5 minutes, no exaggeration. So the biggest advancement that you're going to see with these is the quick replacement lenses. So we'll get to that in just a moment. You're also going to see the lens design has changed as well. So it's now going to be a hard plastic 3D injected molded lens. And you're going to have 3 different variations to the lens. So that's been a significant change. And then as we walk through this as well, you're going to see the way they've designed the foam to the back of this has changed significantly as well. So it's a pretty innovative goggle design when we're looking at what we've seen from 100% up until this point and really what you're getting with this one. So let's break that down right now, starting with the price. The price on these is going to range from $90 with the clear lenses up to around $120 for the hyper lenses, and that's H-I-P-E-R. The mirrored lenses sitting in between there around the $100 mark. And just keep in mind, Revzilla has a price match guarantee, so you are guaranteed to get the lowest price. But the biggest significant talking point here is that this is a big jump up from their Racecraft goggles. The Racecraft goggles came in around the $65 to $75 mark, depending on the lens configuration you wanted to go with. When you're looking at these, you're now starting around the $90 mark, working your way up to the $120 mark. And the biggest miss that I think that we're seeing from 100% with this is that if I go with the mirrored lens or if I go with the hyper lens, I no longer get the clear lens included in the box. You have to purchase that separately. So if you're like me and you're riding in the woods, just know that right out of the gate, you're not going to just need to buy the mirrored lens. You're also going to have to make sure you get a set of the clears as well for when the sun begins to go down or you're really deep in the woods and you don't need that extra mirroring on the goggle lenses itself. The other thing that you're not going to see included is the tear-off. So with the Racecrafts, a lot of the Racecrafts have come with those tear-offs included. Those will have to be bought separately now. You will still see that they include the post. But again, you're going to lose some of those inclusions that you got with the cheaper goggles. So what are you getting now to justify that? So in my opinion, and like I said, I actually personally went out and bought a pair of these as soon as they came out. I've been riding in them and I've been very impressed. First and foremost, at my last event that I did before I got these was an event called Dirty Dabbers here on the East Coast. I had a problem with my lenses. There was like a scratch that went across. It was driving me insane. And I went to change the lens out in the trail and it just turned into a nightmare and it took way too long. So the first thing that really impresses with me is how quickly these do change out. So what you'll see on either side, you can actually kind of see it back here, there's a little hinge bracket on either side. So all you want to do when you want to first start off is you just simply pull up on that hinge and it unhinges the goggle, or the lens rather, from the goggle structure. You want to do that on both sides. So once that's loose, you want to start by just pulling out the bottom, and the bottom just kind of snaps in right there, and the whole lens simply pops out. So once that's out, you can easily change it over to a mirrored lens or a clear lens. And what you'll notice too is that if you had a pair of the old 100% goggles, they all use the same lens structure. This is now going to be a hard lens. And like I said, this is a 3D injected molded lens. And when we get up into the hyper, the biggest difference you'll see there over the mirrored is the contrasting that you're going to get within that lens. So again, hard, clear, 3D molded goggle lens to this compared to the old one. Big innovation, holds that pre-curve and allows them to make a more aggressive pre-curve to the goggle body itself. Now, quickly putting this back together, I find that the easiest way to do it is to hold it in my right hand, and you want to start with the nose bridge, and you just want to get that nose bridge down into place. You'll notice that the two small clamps in the bottom on either side fall right into place as well, and then you just need to make sure that that top section falls into the little clamp at the top. Once that's into place, you simply grab your snaps on either side, and you snap them over, and you are set to go ride. There you go. I mean, it's literally as easy as that. And if you've ever tried to do the outgoing 100% goggles, you realize what a big deal this is. A couple of little fingerprints that I got on there, but you can easily wipe those away. Now, other thing to note here, you'll notice on the pair that I got, I actually took the nose guard off, the nose bridge. Simply, it just didn't work with the helmet I was using. I was using a Shoei VFX Evo helmet, and it didn't work with the nose guard that I already had installed on that helmet. So I just simply pulled that off, and you can see it's just got a few little snaps on the inside. You can just pull that right off if you don't want to use that, if it doesn't work with your existing helmet. Taking a look at the outriggers are very similar to what we saw with the Racecrafts, and it simply allows you to get more curvature pressed firmly against your face. So what you'll notice is a really aggressive pre-curve which holds the foam directly against the area around your eyes. Now this is slightly redesigned in the Racecraft because what you'll notice is you're still going to have a dual density foam with a third layer on the inside. But if you take a look at that inside foam, you'll now see these little needle point holes that are actually poked through the foam layers. And the idea there is that with those little injected needle points, it pushes through to this rubber gasket channel on the inside, and you'll see it right there. And that actually catches the sweat prior to it sticking down to your face. And before, with the older model, the problem was you'd go to put your helmet back on and the foam would press against your forehead and it would just squeegee all that sweat out. So it would just pool up into the bottom parts of your goggles. I haven't gotten that to do this yet. With my experience, the system does work better than the previous version. Nothing has really changed to the strap design, so there should be no surprises there. And then the biggest final thing to note here is with the hyper lens. Now, really what this is, it's a high contrast lens to give you better field of vision when you're out there riding. I would liken it to if you've ever worn a pair of polarized sunglasses. That's kind of what it felt like to me using these for the first time. Then again, these aren't polarized, but if you've ever used that, that's kind of the similarity that I've seen. Definitely an easier field of vision, especially in lower light, than what I noticed with the mirrored lenses. So very impressed so far, but again, you're now looking at $120 or around the $120 mark to get up into this, and you're still gonna have to purchase that clear lens separately. So it is definitely an investment for those of you out there that are riding in those conditions. Now, my biggest nitpick here is that so far they're only available in 11 colors. The beauty of the Akuris, where you had dozens of color options to choose from. Now, 100% has guaranteed us that there are more colors on the way, but for those of you that want to jump into these right out of the gate, you are going to be limited in your color option. But really, if for nothing else, the quick change lens system on this works flawlessly. Even if you just want to stick with the regular clears and the mirrored, it's a nice bump up for that. I do think they wick sweat away better than the previous versions of 100% goggles. And the HyperLens, I think, does a very good job. It's super clear, and I've had no issues as far as the contrasting is concerned, being too dark in low light. For me, really nice, improved set of goggles from 100%. They are going to be a larger investment. They're not going to be for everybody. But if you're out there riding regularly off-road, these are definitely something I'd be considering, especially if you're like me and you like to switch lenses throughout the day. Very easy to swap these back and forth. Now, if you want additional feedback from riders out there that are utilizing these day to day, click the info button on your desktop or mobile device, read other rider reviews, and as always, if you have additional questions, you can reach out to one of our Gear Geeks at 877-792-9455 or simply shoot an email over to cs@revzilla.com. I want to thank you for joining us for this look at the 100% Omega goggles. I'm Spurge. Enjoy the ride.
While we trust all countries to train up their soldiers to the best of their ability, there are some states that just go one step further when it comes to putting on a powerful performance. A uniform makes all the difference when it comes to getting into the right mindset, and these soldiers' outfits are a perfect example of just that. From intelligent materials to traditional features and safety in numbers, stick around as we delve into 10 of the most powerful uniforms from around the world. Let's start this list off with a country everyone knows because it's clear that the Pentagon is taking charge when it comes to protecting U.S. troops from harm. Their uniforms might look smart and practical, but there's far more to them than meets the eye. These uniforms are made of intelligent fabric, which has the ability to instantly report the location of gunshot wounds or even detect traces of nuclear, biological, or chemical attacks in blood and sweat. This means that any soldiers who happen to get injured on the field could receive the appropriate medical care straight away, rather than hunting down the source of the injury. These smart uniforms, some of which are still in production, would include medical sensors built into the fabric to monitor the health of troops. These clothes have other features too. They would not only detect where wounds occurred and how deep they go, but they could also report a fallen soldier's location with GPS coordinates and pass along other critical information for battlefield medics. British soldiers' uniforms are being manufactured to include electrically conducting yarn woven directly into the clothing, replacing cumbersome batteries and cabling. This also reduces the chance of uniforms short-circuiting or causing other electrical issues for the soldiers wearing the clothes. These e-textiles could provide uniforms with a single central power source, rather than having to fiddle around with multiple cables. This design would allow soldiers to recharge one battery instead of many, and cut the number of cables required in their kit before they take to the field. This special fabric can be integrated into the vest, into the shirt, the backpack, and into the glove and weapons platform. It can even be implemented into the helmet, which is pretty cool. These designs put Britain at the forefront of modern military uniforms, allowing them to be more powerful than ever. The French military is nothing to sniff at in the first place, holding an impressive number of soldiers and the sharp uniforms to back it. French soldiers wear Spectra helmets with electronic equipment and the Phalanx combat system to keep them well dressed and ready for action. This Spectra helmet is a ballistic helmet and is made from ultra-high molecular weight polyethylene Spectra fibers. These fibers can stop shell fragments of 1.1 grams traveling at 2,200 feet per second. The Phalanx combat system combines a modified FAMAS rifle with a host of other electronics, clothing, pouches, and body armor. Not only does Russia have the advantage when it comes to size, but the Soviet Union is also one of the only few that retains the ability to develop its own hardware, ranging from nuclear submarines and ballistic and cruise missiles to tanks, fighters, jet engines to satellites without outside assistance. Russia also doesn't stand still when it comes to keeping up its military skills. Since 1994, the uniform has undergone a series of changes. It's almost like they don't want us to know all of the details, another way of keeping their country protected. The Russian military uniform is made from ultralight, high-strength woven aramid textiles as part of its new Ratnik 3 combat kit. These vests are based on an extremely hard boron-carbon ceramic material also used in tank armor, and will protect critical body regions and reduce the overall uniform weight by between 20 to 30%. In its 65 years, the Israel Defense Forces has changed from being a mix-up of various different groups to a singular, united army. Over the years, this uniform has done more than simply change color. It's updated its previously cotton materials into harder, more durable ones that keep its soldiers better protected on the field. In 2018, the Israeli military took things one step further by implementing smart uniforms to the IDF Special Unit to improve the operational effectivity and the combat performance for long term. The new uniforms came equipped with combat uniforms with special features adapted to the warfare characteristics. They're made from a strong, fire-resistant and sweat-evaporating material. They also include a built-in knee defense layer, ergonomics which prevent pressure points on the body, pants with built-in elastic bands, and dedicated secure pockets. Everything came with a purpose to ensure top-notch security. North Korean soldiers have the advantage of safety in numbers with one of the largest armies in the entire world. But that doesn't mean they've left their uniform behind when it comes to keeping soldiers in a fit and confident position to do their job. In 2018, the North Korean military got a uniform switch-up, changing from the olive green uniforms they'd been sporting previously to a khaki getup with new and improved features. Their new jackets came with special padding to prevent harm, and the uniforms also included sunglasses, earpieces, and armbands, elements commonly seen on US and South Korean soldiers but not on the North Koreans up until recently. Most soldiers are also armed with locally produced Kalashnikov-type rifles like this Type 58 assault rifle. As well as this, the Army uses ZM-87 anti-personnel lasers, which are banned under the UN Protocol on blinding laser weapons. Troops serve a minimum of 10 years of military service, starting at the age of 17, and go into the job knowing that Kim Jong-un and the rest of the senior officials have the soldiers' protection at the forefront of their mind always. North Korea has 1,190,000 active soldiers, 6,300,000 reserve, and 189,000 paramilitary personnel. In contrast, South Korea has a huge 8,134,500 personnel, with 630,000 of those active, 7,500,000 reserve, and 4,500 paramilitary. This army has a dedicated university research team who devote their time to coming up with the best uniform that money can buy. By 2020, a winning design will be implemented and distributed as part of the Warrior Platform project. There are currently two strong contenders, imaginatively called Type A and Type B. Type A was designed by the university team and Type B by the Army using this feedback. New uniforms are expected to reduce visibility by lowering saturation, as the current issue Granite B pattern uniform reportedly has relatively high visibility. Zippers replaced buttons, and the chest pocket arrangement was altered to ensure that soldiers could reach their gear immediately in case of emergency. Something particularly impressive about the Indian military uniform is the fact that it can be customized. The new uniform can be adjusted depending on extreme weather conditions and the terrain that soldiers are fighting on. This advantage means they'll never be left behind, even if they're fighting on ground that's different to what they're used to. The Indian Army also has an impressive uniform to match. While there's a standard uniform for all soldiers to wear, it's possible to show your worth and upgrade to a black uniform. This uniform is worn by the officers and men of the Armored Corps and the NSG. Saudi Arabia has some of the greatest military equipment money can buy, and a huge army to stand to guard whenever they're needed to spring into action. In 2018, Saudi Arabia had a defense budget of $76.7 billion, giving the nation a huge advantage over its regional rivals Israel and Iran, which have budgets of $18.5 billion and $8 billion. In 2014, it was the world's biggest importer of defense equipment. The uniforms were initially closely patterned on the British and United States models that influenced those forces during their early development. But over the years, they've branched out while keeping a range of traditional features. The most common uniform colors were khaki or olive drab for the Army and National Guard, blue or white for the Navy, and blue for the Air Force. Throughout the history, Japan's foreign influence is clearly visible in its uniforms, although over time it's taken to developing more standardized options that'll ensure safety as well as a strong look. Initially, Japanese officers were not usually issued uniforms, so they had to arrange their own, and as a result, there was a wide variety in the details, color, and texture of their uniforms. But over the course of history, the Japanese decided to implement more features into their military uniform. Nowadays, some of the impressive features include 3 different models of helmet that are secured to the head by an elaborate set of straps, and some more features that remind us of Japan's unique history. They were the Senninbari, a red sash 1,000 stitch belt worn around the waist. This was supposed to bring good luck, confer courage, and make the wearer immune to bullets. There was also the hashimaki, a headband worn as a symbol of perseverance or effort, and the new army sword, a weapon and badge of rank that was previously held. Can you think of any other impressive military uniforms that should have made this list? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to The Richest, and join our notification squad. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.